Hey, this is Prentice Knight from Projects by Night, and I wanted to tell y'all about a video that I did. We met up with our friend Paul. It's Smart Easy DIY is his channel on YouTube, and he has a pole barn house as well, and we went by there this summer, and then we did a whole video. It kind of got long because we both like to talk. But we're going to put a little clips of that and then send a link so you can watch the whole thing on his page. So, check it out. Let us know what you think.
Hey guys, this is Paul from Smart Easy DIY. Today I wanted to talk to you about the pole barn house and a lot of the questions that we get all the time. So I have with me here a friend of mine, Prentice, and he is from Kentucky, and he built a pole barn house there as well. He did his a little bit different, so he's got a little bit different perspective on some things. So I thought it'd be fun to do a video with him, and we could answer some of the most commonly asked questions that we get. And so we'll dive right in here. So, you know, what's involved with permitting? And I know you have some thoughts on that. What I was going to say, well, definitely check with your local county or whatever handles your permitting process, because even, it doesn't matter, even if you're in the same state, if you're in a different county, it can vary. It depends if you're close to bodies of water, maybe, as far as septic restrictions.
Every little thing makes a big difference.
Topography of your land,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So you had some thoughts on that?
Yeah, so like before you buy land, this is obviously something you'd want to figure out. You know, like the permit cost and what you're allowed to do, and if there's any covenants against it, like post frame, you know, it just depends. There's a lot of restrictions in some areas, not at all in others. So if you're trying to build something yourself, depending on if you're going on grid or off grid, ours is completely off grid, so it's a little twist on what he's done. So all that matter, where we are, basically you need a permit for the septic and that's it. I didn't need a permit for the building. I didn't need a permit for the driveway. I did rainwater catchment. I did solar power. So I have essentially no cost on that end, whereas here you have some, but some places you have a lot more.
Yeah. And also one thing that can add to your costs is some states, it sounds like they won't even let you do like electrical work or plumbing work unless there's like a master plumber involved or a master electrician that can sign off on that kind of thing. Here, as long as I was a homeowner, I wasn't doing it for a commercial business or anything like that. I was a homeowner, I could do my own. I didn't need to have a master plumber involved or electrician involved.
And that would be the same in our area.
As long as they came and checked it out.
Right, as long as it passes inspection and you are the homeowner.
Then you're okay. So that all varies by your state, by your county. So that's something to check into, because that can add quite a bit to your cost if you would have to have a master plumber, like say for your plumbing, for example, come in and sign off. That probably could add quite a bit. So all those things add up.
And if you can even find one that'll sign off on your work, like all that stuff is like, it's a lot of legwork involved in that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. One big question also that I got is, how did I get the bank to finance this? So there's a couple thoughts I have on that. Now, one, we had sold a house previously, so we had a little money to work with as far as the build goes. But what we decided to do and what we found that worked really well, and this is kind of advice that I give people to check out at least, is try to work with a local bank if you can. Don't work with a big chain like Bank of America or things like that. Try to find a really good local bank that knows your area and that is willing to work with you. And then what we did is we put as little as possible down on the property, and we financed as big of a chunk as we could on the property, so we had more to work on the building part. And then, because they have, land always has value, so they have no problem financing the land. What they, sometimes they want a bigger down payment, or they want you to have certain much done is on the build part, because they don't see any value, of course.
They want to know what they're putting the money down on.
Yeah.
They need to, yeah.
And so what we found out is, it seems like if you can have enough money to either, you were going to talk about the slab a little bit, but say if you're doing a pole building, if you can get the frame up, which is pretty easy to do, to get the shell up, get it enclosed and all that, then they can actually see that there's value going on here, and then they have something that you probably can refinance at that point if you need to. You had a couple thoughts on that.
And so basically, depending on your financing situation, so some places, some banks are going to be hesitant to loan on a post frame, is what they call a pole barn. But if you do a turn down slab instead of post, you can either bolt your post to the top of the slab when you're done, or just stick frame it at that point. The cost is very little difference. You now have what would be considered a slab foundation, which pretty much everywhere is considered conventional framing. Other things you have to watch out with loans on is some of them are, you know, if you're wanting to do metal siding or something like that, it's considered unconventional, and they're hesitant to do that. That's going to vary a lot in your location, because every style of building is different. But in Kentucky, where I am, it's hard to get a loan on a building with metal siding compared to vinyl. Even though metal's better, it's considered unconventional. So you run into, it's just, they don't know what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They don't know how to work with it. Now, I've known multiple people that have done the pole barn houses on grid, and they have them financed. But like you're saying, it's usually through a local bank. It's not through a big chain bank.
Yeah.
It's where it's somebody you can talk to, and they can actually understand what you're doing, and then they kind of know.
Yeah, and again, it might depend on your area a little bit, but it seems like here it's very common that people do these kind of structures. So the local banks understand that a lot more.
It's pretty easy to find somebody to work with you.
Yeah, a lot more so than a big chain.
Right.
So if you found this to be interesting, helpful, or not annoying, and you want to see more, you can go over to Paul's channel. It's Smart Easy DIY, and kind of see the whole thing. We're going to put a link to that here in the video, and you will be able to check out 30 minutes of this.